Yeah. Hello everyone, this is Light on the Tube. Playing, not playing. I don't really want to do a game video from Forza Horizon that I am the best and such thing. No, I don't really want to. I want to do a video about my talking, about my thoughts, what I was doing, because I was doing a lot of Destiny videos lately, and I think it was really fine. I really like that game, but even for that I do think that I don't really want to get bounded to Destiny, because I'm not a I'm playing Destiny, of course, but I'm not really playing Destiny only. Even that how it looks right now, that I'm just almost only have Destiny videos, the late times. But I'm not a Destiny player only, and I do want to play. I do want to talk about the Destiny thing, because I made a lot of raid the last time, and I was thinking on how I would be able to do a good raid video, because of the raid is just really interesting thing. I don't find it really hard. I do find it that way, that if you are playing raid you need a good team. That's what only you need, and if you do have a good team you are just really able to enjoy the game. And I think gaming is about enjoying what you are doing, and that's the most important thing why I want to do this video. Because how I did found in the raid, there is a lot of problems with people there. The game is fine, of course, and it can be made if you are there with a good team, but I did find that most of the time when you are just joining into a raid team, then it's just arguing to each other how to play or how not to play. Everybody is smart there, and everybody has a big face. Okay, not everybody, but there is always at least one guy who is just ruining the whole game. And because of this I was not on to put up those kind of videos where others are just arguing to each other. I don't really like arguing, because it's not really a point in it. And I'm just thinking on that because of that I was on to do it in a other kind of video, in another kind of game, to show that I'm not able to play only Destiny. But even for that, of course, I'm on to talk about Destiny a bit at least, because that's why I'm not doing right now raid videos. I did find a good team, and I'm going to make good videos about the raid, because with them I am able to do such thing like enjoying a raid and progressing in it. But of course I will show you how the arguing things works, because of course I'm curious about how do you see that thing, that the people are in the raid are just acting. I don't want to judge anybody, I'm just curious about your opinion, because how I did find that can be a reason why people just not really liking multiplayer games, because of the others. And you know, this is a really interesting thing, because I always played multiplayer because I always liked to participate in things, and I always liked to be around them, and it was just fun. It was just social. You are really able to enjoy the game if you are just playing it not alone. Even for that, of course, most of the time I'm doing it alone. But even for that, I do think that I'm not playing alone because I'm not able to play with others, or I'm just that antisocial or something. I'm just playing it alone because I don't like others to ruin what you can enjoy if you are just doing it by yourself. You can take your own time, and for that, in some way it's priceless to play with your friends. Even if you I mean, not even if you do have friends. Of course, I'm not saying it because I don't. I'm just not really playing with my friends on Xbox because they are not really playing with Xbox. So on Xbox, of course, I do have a good group with who I can play and talk to other things, but because of that we are just playing it in Hungarian. I mean, we are just talking in Hungarian. Of course, I'm not on to put up those kind of videos. I'm just I don't know. I'm just really enjoying gaming, and in some way I never know what others likes in it. Of course, even for that I do know that my gaming is a bit of a different thing. I don't really like things when you are just saying from yourself that you are good, but at some point you really need to ask yourself that, am I lying to myself if I'm saying that I'm not the worst player on the world? And because of that, if you are alone, of course you are just not really able to answer it by yourself. But even anything, I don't know, I do have feedbacks of that what I'm doing is just great in some way for a couple of reasons, because at least it's just not like the similar thing. And yeah, that get back to the raid a bit, that the similar thing is just always this. I mean, in the raid, if you are just big down there, it's always the same. Everybody is just trying to find its place because of the other one is just telling them what to do. But of course, because of that, the other one is just not really knowing these things. He just likes to be a boss or something. I mean, I always was in the middle of these kind of things, because I always had my opinion, and of course people want others' opinion in some way. So even for that I would be able to do such thing. I thinking on that I will, but I'm always approaching first to things like I'm always like to watch around. I mean, I always like to learn from others, because I'm curious if I'm just meeting a new thing. And I'm thinking on the raid that I of course did not do such thing before, like raids, and because of that of course I'm curious about how others play. But I started to play and I'm really watching that it's the same what I just found almost all the time in games. When I'm just following others, I'm always just getting killed, failing, such thing like yeah, they might get used to. But because of that, usually I am just approaching not in a rushing way. I'm starting to examine things, and I'm always on to do it in a great way. If I'm just doing something bad, I'm always on to find out what was the bad in it, and I'm always try to fix it. And in that way, of course, I learned how to progress in games. And in some way it was funny that a lot of people, when I was down in the raid, were just, of course, not really knowing what they were doing. And because of that I was able to get down there alone once. It was really fine for me that I was able to take my time on learning the game. And because of that I really started to enjoy, and I was just really understanding what it's about. And that's why I'm saying that the raid is just not even, I mean, not really hard. It's not about that it's going to be really hard. If you're just playing that game, it's really cool for you. You are just really need to watch to those things that you are just watching anyway. So you can enjoy the raid if you are just doing it with those people who you can understand you with each other. Because the most and the best, I mean the worst thing what I found out there was that thing that they are just really not understanding each other. It's not really about, I mean, how I did find it. Raids mostly are just not really about team games. It's mostly about that somebody just always tries to take control. I know these things, I know these kind of people. I learned psychology, and know why they are doing so. In some way, of course, I'm pity them, and I'm not really on to ruin their day, but I think I should, but I'm not that kind. So in that way, of course, I'm not taking the control over them, but I'm talking about this thing because I want you not to let them to ruin your game. I do know people all around the world, I guess. I mean, I do know how human works, and I do know that it can really ruin others' day, that there is somebody else and it's just really trying to get over on you, if it's right. I mean, maybe it's not the best expression for it, but if he's just trying, or she, doesn't matter. I mostly meet with guys who are just trying to take control, but I do know that they are doing it because they are just missing some things from their life, and even for that they are trying to hurt you. They are just trying to hurt you because they got hurt before, and that's what they just not really able to not work out by themselves. Maybe it's not the correct expression, because of course I'm not the best in English yet, but I think I'm just starting to be better in these things, and I think at least I always, I mean not always, I just start, oh shit, yeah, I was not even. So I'm just on to do these videos, and I think I'm getting better in it, but because of that I do not really want to get bounded to the Destiny thing. Because of that I'm really multi-sided gamer, I guess. Because of that I think I played a really lot of games, and I do think that I do like them all. So in that way, of course, I'm going to get back to that thing, that I'm going to do a lot of a lot of videos about a lot of different games. Oops, I just slipped through. But I think for that reason I just chose the Forza right now, because during I'm driving I'm not really want to talk about the Forza, not really want to talk about the driving. I just want to drive, and I just want to talk about the things what I just found lately, and I just want to, in some way, I wanted to apologize because of that I just did not make videos, but in some way I was just that surprised on that thing, that the raid is supposed to be such thing like what you are just enjoying, I guess, because it's a good game, you are just playing it with friends. Oh and how I did find out is just not like this, and so for that I was thinking on that I do want to do another kind of video than Destiny, and I'm not doing it for Forza fans. I want my videos to be for everybody, because yeah, I'm not sure that I can explain these things, and I'm not sure that I really want to explain it, because I'm thinking on that if it can be seen in my videos, I mean, then it's really fine, and I just got to that place where I want it to be, where everybody just understanding what I'm just talking about and why I'm just showing it to them. In some way, of course, I started these things because I'm really enjoying gaming. Other things were that I was really seeing that others are just not really good in gaming. Of course, always there is a couple players who are just good in some things, and of course, but I do see that the average people are just playing because he likes to play, and not because he's just really good in it. And because of that they are just enjoying the game, but because of that they are just not that skilled, or not really knowing the game, or just don't really have that much time to play with it. For that there could be places in the games where they are just not really able to progress, because of the game is just really hard. You really need to know the game to be able to complete something in it, and because of that average people just don't really have time for it. I was thinking on that because of that I do have time, and because of that I do able to figure out how to complete things in games. I was on to open a YouTube channel because I wanted to help to people, and I got to, I mean, I just sat down to do this video, but when I was just starting it, I just got fined by others that may I help them to finish the Destiny Nightfall, and of course I helped and we made it, and I was just thinking on that that poor guy on level 25 would not been able to do it without us, because there were one more guy who were just helping, and it was really fine that we were just did our job, I guess. And you know, this is really a good feeling if you are just helping others, and because of that, of course, I cannot be everywhere. In that way, of course, I wanted to do videos about my gamings to help others how to progress easier in a lot of things, because I like to help people, and people needs help. I'm not talking about that people needs control. I never want to take control over on them, because I'm always trying to show them the way, and I'm always letting them to pass, I mean to get in the door if they ready. I'm not pushing others to do anything. I'm always on to show ways, and because of that I was just thinking on that the channel might be helpful to a lot of people. I hope it's going to be this way, because right now I don't think that too many people are just knowing about it. Of course, I'm not really advertising myself. Maybe that's the reason why I'm just not really on the top yet, but of course I'm aiming to do it, but because of that I'm just not that kind. I'm not going to do it fast, I guess. I'm not really like to rush on people. I'm always trying to give them time to work, I mean to figure out what they want, and if they do want anything, then just let them to do such thing like this. I mean, oh, I was faster before. Yeah, I do know that this video is just not going to be about any kind of Forza help or any kind of raid helps. I just want to let you know that gaming is really a great thing. Don't get scared about others, because they are just trying to rush on you in some way. And yeah, that's why I just chose the driving, I guess, because driving is really a good thing in life. I do really like to drive. It just turns me off, I guess, almost all the time. I do really like to play. Yeah, I really like to drive. And I think, yeah, that's the same. Why do I just doing the game? Because you are just really liking it. That's the point of it. And because of that, others can ruin it. I do wanted to do such video like don't let others to ruin your day. Never. Not worth it. Don't care with them. It just works like that. You just should not take care of them. Yeah, they will be on to do such thing all the time, because of what I just mentioned, that they are just missing something from their life. But that's their problems, I guess. Don't let them to give you their problems. Only if they are just your friend. But if they are not, don't let them. Enjoy the game, and even for that, most people I think are just, most people are just really going up to the live or onto the internet to play games to get around people. I mean, they like to communicate or get contacted to each other, and in some way it can be a paradox in my gamings, because I'm doing it almost all the time alone. And the reason is why I'm just doing it alone, I think I just told you before, because I like to try. I like to take my time on the games, and even for that, when I just played with my friends, and I did know that they would understand it and they would let it, and of course they are doing it. I mean, they are letting it to take my time, but in some way I'm not really on to keep them up. For some reason I do always think that it just should not be this way, that I'm just keeping them up with my own things. And I think gaming is really good for experiencing out a lot of things. Maybe not really for lives, but you can experience it for yourself, I guess. I mean, it can show your inner yourself, and maybe you do know that, or maybe you just think how you are just, or what, or who are you anyway. But I don't know. I'm not really on to tell you who are you. I think it's just not like this. Yeah, that crash made me to say not to tell you who are you. I mean, you should not come to me to let yourself know who are you. You really need to find it for yourself. And in some way I think in gaming you are just really able to find out who you are when you are just playing with others, because in there, on live, on the internet, mostly the people are just really themselves, because they are able to hide behind the name and behind some characters, I guess. So in that way, of course, you are really able to find out who you are, I guess. Even for that, maybe some people just thinks that gaming is just wrong to you. I don't think in that way. I think gaming is just not wrong because of the content what you are playing, but of course if you are just playing all the time alone, and if you are just playing those kind of games, what really maybe psychological games, horror games, such thing, then it can happen that you are just not going to see the world in reality. So for that, internet gaming is really good for getting feedbacks from other, but you always need to watch for that thing, that the other maybe is not going to be honest with you. So in that way you will really need to you will really need to be able to make the difference between truth and between those things what others are just saying to you, because they are just not able to do that in their own lives, and they just don't really want you to do it, because of course in that way they would think that you are better than them. Even for that, how it is really, I do really want to help for everybody, maybe for them as well, but for these things I think I could use a couple of comments about that, what kind of games you really want to see. Even for that, I'm not sure that you do really want to tell me what to do. Of course I'm not want you to tell me what to do. I'm just asking you if you do have any kind of game you want to progress in it, and maybe if you are just not able to for some reason, then I might be able to help. But of course this channel is not going to be all the helps, because I'm not on to help all the time. Of course I really like to enjoy gaming, and in some way I do really want others to enjoy it, so not to mention that I can enjoy it by myself. I do want to do more videos about those things what might entertain others, because of that it can be in some way a help, but I hope there is such thing what others just mentioned, that it's just in some way it can be good to see my gamings. And of course I'm not really like to say bad things about others, but I do know that others are just playing differently, and not just because the rushing things. I found it that way that I do have a lot of knowledge about games and about things, how to work them out, and in that way, because of that, I'm just doing things good. In that way it can be entertaining to see how it works, or how it just can be done, because in some way I met a lot of people who are just said that, oh, that's impossible, oh, that's not really possible, or they are just, when saw such thing like what happened, then they just saw, they never thought about that it just can be made. So in that way my videos, I want you to open new possibilities for you with those things that I'm just showing you. Maybe original content, but maybe more just different content than others, because how I'm seeing, for example, in the Forza videos, I'm always seeing guys who are just pushing the throttle, and I don't want to be offensive, but I'm just not seeing that they really can drive, and not that I'm just talking about myself that I'm just the best racer around. Of course I'm not, I do know that, but of course it's because that is never a best all the time. Being the best is just not about that you are really being the best. You can be among the best, and that's all. So yeah, in that way I think it's really easy if you are just talking about these things that I am the best. I'm telling you these things because I met a lot of people who are just said from themselves how good they are, and when they should perform, of course it was not really a success. So in that way it was really interesting how people are just thinking themselves the best, but of course there is the gaming which can give you in some way a couple of feedbacks about that, if you are just good or not. So in that way, that's why I'm thinking that they're just missing from their lives something. I mean, they are just missing something from their lives, and in that way they are just because of that they do know that they are just missing something, but maybe they don't really know what is that, but they do know that they are just missing something. They are just trying to take it away from you. So in that way they would be able to see what they are just missing, because they only would see, I mean should see what they are just trying to take away, because that's the thing what they are just missing. But for some reason they are just not really able to see themselves in the reality, I guess. And because of that, the whole video of this is just started because of that thing. Because of that, the others are just always be on to ruin your gaming. I mean, not everybody, of course, you can find those people who are just not, but there will be always players who will be on to ruin your games, and I just wanted you not to let them, because it's just not worth it. And not just not worth it, they are just... I don't even know why you should do such thing, but I do know how psychology works, and I do know, I saw people down there up on the internet, how they are just performing, and how they are just acting, or how they are just behaving in front of each others. And in that way, of course, I do know what that means, and I do know that a lot of people are just really on to not to let you. For some reason they are just really enjoying that thing, but the whole this video's purpose is that thing, that you just should not let them. If you are just... oh, I just got... oh shit. I mean, really, this is a temple. How? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think I just talked about the thing what I just wanted from, and I just told you not to let others to ruin your games, and for that just try to enjoy it, not care with them. If they are just there and they are just doing anything, then you should not, I mean, you do not really need to leave. I mean, I always staying around next to these people, because I'm really finding them funny in some way. But of course, even for that, I'm just pitying them. Even for that, of course, I'm just having fun on them, but not making fun of them. That's a different thing. Of course, I'm not doing it because I'm a troll kind, or I'm an offensive. I'm just looking it like funny, because they are just really interesting in some way, that they are just doing something and doesn't even know why. And if you are just telling them why, they almost all the time they are just surprising on it, and they are just thinking over on it, I guess. And if they are just finding such thing like reality in it, I think they are just really thinking about it, that it can happen that in that moment that they are just changing their minds. But for that you need to see it right, I guess, if you are just telling them, or you just need to be or telling them like more surely than they are just doing it against you, because it can happen that, of course, it's not about the truth. It's always about that thing, that how strong you are when you are just approaching the others, and how can you convince them about things. But the whole video's purpose is that don't let others to convince you about those things what you are just not thinking. I hope it's just followable. Let's just take a turn. Ooh. Yeah, I was not really doing it great, I guess, and because of that I just wrecked my car, I guess, a couple times. Let me just get back to such place like... oh, it's just ahead. So yeah, I don't really want to do now a video about anything. I mean, even for that I do said that it should have a such purpose, like making you sure not to be sure with others. And in that way, of course, I'm just thinking on that I'm still going to keep it up in that way, that I'm not going to finish the video right now. Even for that, I think I'm just talking too much, and it is just going to be too long. But there were some feedbacks who told me, who let me know that I have a good talking, and I hope he's right. It's not the first time that I'm just hearing this, and I think it can happen that they are right in that way, that my brain is just working like that. It just puts together the knowledge and it's just really explaining it to others. So in that way, of course, I do hope that they are right, and I understand them when they are just saying that it can be interesting. I'm not saying that it's always interesting, because I cannot be sure from everything, and in that way, of course, I'm always on to let others to let me know if I'm right or wrong, and of course I'm just always on to pick the truth among them, because of course it can happen that somebody is just going to tell you something what is not really truth, and he might know aware of that it's just not a truth, and even for that he's just saying to you. But even for that, I do think that those might be right who are just saying that at least I do have a couple of knowledge about gaming and about driving and about shooting, and because of that I think, of course, in some way I'm just connected to driving and shooting games. But I do really want to do strategy games, because I really like strategy games. They are just really good. How do they say? It's really good time. You can really have good times when you are just playing strategy games. But because of that, I was just on to learn English, and I think I'm getting to the place where I just at least want to approach. Then I think I will do such thing like strategy games. If you have an idea which one should it be, then let me know, because if you are just not going to let me know, then of course I'm going to pick it myself, and it can happen then it won't be that one who I just wanted it, or you just, I don't know. I really like strategy games. I think it's just really great games. Not to mention that I think when there were no internet and you are just played alone, there were no LAN or such thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, when you were just playing alone, the strategy games were the most and best things in gamings, because they were able to take time. I mean, give joy to you, because they were just made the time to pass in a blink of an eye. Even for that, of course, action games were to the same purpose, but because of that, the action games are just really making you a bit nervous, I guess. In that way, the strategy games can give you those feelings when you are just really able to think about things. You are not really need to rush, or at least the turn-based strategy games, because of course there were real-time strategy games after the first games what were turn-based, but even for anything you can take more time in real-time strategy. But yeah, maybe in real-time strategy it's not the same, I guess. Maybe I'm more talking about the turn-based strategy, because of course I played real-time strategy, and if you are for example playing on the internet, you really don't have time what you can waste. Oh, shit. So in that way, yeah, I think I'm just talked about turn-based strategy games. I really do like turn-based strategy games. Of course, in some way, real-time based strategy games are just can be good, but I'm not really like rushing in that way, that I'm just need to use out my every second to be able to beat the other. So in that way, turn-based strategy games at least give you the time to think. And I think for that I will do such videos like turn-based strategy games in some way, or at least strategy games what gives you a bit of more time than, for example, the action games in Destiny, where you just really need to watch for every kind of direction all the time, and in a matter of a time, in a second, it just can turn to something else. I mean that you can die. In strategy games, it's working like, it mostly works like that. You are just starting to see that you are not going to be able to work it out well, I guess, because in that way, yeah, it's connected to real-time strategy games, when you are just seeing the enemy at a point when they are just where they are just too much, and that point you're just starting to know and getting aware of that information that it's not going to be great for you. So in that way, of course, I will be on to do a different kind of videos than just action videos, because I do really like to take my time, and I do think that strategy games are for this purpose, to take your time and not to rush. Because of course internet gaming, mostly if you are just not playing with your friends, is just really about rushing in some way, because people doesn't really have time, and their little time they want to progress, of course they want to make everything, and in that way of course they want to beat the world record. Of course it has its romance when you are just beating a record, but of course gaming is just not all the time about records. Did I hit it? Yeah, let me just check it out. Ooh, dang. For some reason it's just really wrecked. Okay, let's just try to find another... Oh, it was there. If I saw it correctly. Yeah, it was there, okay. So taking your time, enjoying the game. That's why I just... Oh, it was just a trading paint. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's why I just chose, I guess, the Forza, because I do really like to drive. And yeah, where is it anyway? It was there or what? Okay, just there. So that's why I just chose the Forza, because I really like to drive, and I was thinking that during driving I might be able to talk. Because of that I just told you at the beginning of the video that it's just not going to be such thing like, oh, I'm going to tell you how to beat this world record, or I'm going to have to tell you how to glitch this one or beat the boss. I wanted to do a video about just talking and driving, and I think it was fine. At least I'm just saying because I was thinking, yeah, at least I'm just showing you how am I playing these games. I'm doing all the time these things. I do like to drive a clean car, so I don't really like to wreck myself at the first turn. Not to mention that I'm always thinking of myself that I can take that turn, I can take that turn, and then I have to see that, oh shit, it's not going to work this way. And in some way I wanted to make you sure of yourself, because I do see that others are just really trying to find themselves on the internet or wherever they can, because they're just not really knowing who are they. And it can happen that you don't really know who are you, and that doesn't mean that you are just a wrong person. Don't think about it this. You just need to learn. You know, if you don't know who you are, then it just means that you just not really met with it. You're just not met with yourself yet. You need to find yourself, of course, but not that way that you are just trying to get the answer from others, or trying to be angry against others because you do see that they are just enjoying lives. No, enjoy it yourself. That's the point. What else can you do? And in that way, I think I just wanted to do this video because I wanted to show you that gaming can be enjoyable if you're just not letting others to ruin it. Always train in it if you're just thinking that you just need train. Don't think that the time is just going to get wasted, because if you are just enjoying it, then it's not going to get wasted. Oh shit, I just killed 3 of us, I guess. Or maybe we just not dead, but of course I'm just not liking to wreck myself. That's training about, and you have to make yourself sure that even for that you are the best. Oh, I'm the best, such thing. It can happen with the best. For that they are just training to be able to solve these things, but in some way there is always a limit for these things, but you're just not really able to handle it. It's not because of your skills, it's because of the physics. I mean, for example, take this turn right now. Of course, it cannot just taken in with 200 kilometers per hour. It's just not physically not able to do such thing like getting it into. That was just okay. I was lame. Oh, it doesn't matter. The point is that the best are just knowing where are their limits, and for that, of course, they are just between them. The training is for surpassing yourself in that way that you are just going over the limits. And in that way, if you are just going over the limits, you are going to do 2 things. First, that you are just getting aware of where are your limits, and the second is that you are just pushing it out a bit more with every time you are just getting over the limit and not dying in it. Even in games, of course, if you are just dying, you can learn from it, but in real life, of course, you just don't really want to get over on the limit that much that you are just not going to get out from it alive. So in that way, of course, gaming is just a good way for this kind of experiencing how to kill myself, I guess. But in some way there is not too much difference between gamings and between lives, and that's why I'm just saying that in some way you can find yourself in games, because how you play, that's what you are, or how you are. No, that's what you are. I always want to watch people how they are playing, because I do always think that I'm just seeing the real them in their playings, and in some way, of course, I'm just really having fun on trolls, because I know the psychology of it, and because of that I'm not even care of that. But of course sometimes in GTA, because I'm just getting there and they are just doing it and I'm just able to give it back, of course I'm giving back sometimes. I'm not really thinking that it disturbs me. I think I'm just having fun with them, and and I think that's the point. Have fun, man.